Welcome to the Home Business Podcast with Richard Captain Henderson, publisher of Home Business Magazine, and Sherilyn Colleen, managing editor. This how-to show helps you successfully operate your home-based business.
Greetings and welcome to the Home Business Podcast. I'm Richard Captain Henderson, your skipper at Home Business TV.
And I'm Lynn, your co-host.
Let's go proceed and get underway. Hyping yourself through a good press release and press kit is more valuable than ever.
Yes, as marketing fully adapts to online and social media channels, the old-fashioned press release is more critical than ever to business success.
And to actually get down to hyping, you'll need to know how to reach the right context to move your press release along.
A foundation for your press release is a good press toolkit, which can easily be constructed for any size business.
Helping us to hype ourselves today is Lucy Werner, author of Hype Yourself and founder of the Wern PR and Design Consultancy.
So greetings, Lucy Werner. Welcome to our show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on our show.
So you're dialing in from the bustling entrepreneurial metropolis of London.
I am. I'm in East London in my garden office at the moment.
Wonderful.
Oh, cool. Well, you got a great accent to go along with it. I understand they're like blowing things up over there. It's like a kind of a quirky holiday, and we might hear something in the background.
It's Guy Fawkes night, so there's everybody's sort of celebrating by doing fireworks. If there's the odd bang in the background, that would be what that is.
Okay.
Oh, cool. We'll disregard the shelling.
All right, so it all starts with the right mindset. Lucy, what is one thing business owners can do to get into the hype yourself mindset?
I think for me personally, it's really helpful to have a bit of confidence in sharing what your business does. Like talking about your business brings more business. So whether that's just celebrating a small win on LinkedIn or giving a bit of a glimpse into what your business day looks like with an Instagram story, just sort of sharing a little bit day by day help get you into that mindset of sharing more information. And it helps then pull out trends as well. So if you're talking about what your business is doing really well at, it will help spark ideas for stories.
So a simple thing for a business owner is to hype yourself. You just got to start talking about your business. It's as easy. It could be just as easy as that.
Yeah, 100%. And the things that really make businesses interesting are the human stories behind it. So what might not seem necessarily like an obvious business story to you could be something that ends up being picked up as like a massive trend. So I talk a lot about the fact that I took shared parental leave with my partner, and we've had quite a lot of press coverage about the fact that we shared the childcare and shared the job load. So it's trends like that. It's not necessarily talking about I've won this new client, or there's this new product, or there's this new service, but like the human stories behind. So
it can be just as simple as you talking about yourself and how you got started in whatever business you're in. That's something interesting in that storytelling.
100%. I mean, most people who set up their own businesses have done it because they have a really strong belief system. I've never met an entrepreneur that's not passionate about their business. So taking that and turning that story into something PRable is really effective.
Well, yeah, Lucy, why does a new business owner or established entrepreneur need to be writing press releases?
Press release is a really good background document to have on hand if a journalist, or even if there's somebody at an event or somebody like that, they might ask you for background information. So just to have one on hand means you can quickly respond. I also think that for me personally, if I was asking somebody to contact the press, I wouldn't just use the press release, but it's a good foundation document to have just for your background info.
So no matter how much we get lost in social media and online and all that noise and clutter, you still need a good written press release that you can, distribute through all channels to talk about your business.
100%. And I think when you're pitching for different stories, or if you've got news or whatever it is that's going on, to have that historical sort of press release about your business is just an essential part of your media toolkit.
So in a way, it kind of is background information on you that you make sure all the, the people you're communicating with, the PR, has that on file to just, give some basic succinct data on your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the shorter and simpler, the better. Lucy, what are the basic building blocks of an effective press release?
So originally, when the press release was first ever used, and I believe it was actually created on your side of the pond rather than mine, it was actually a news story written verbatim that got printed in the New York Times. So essentially, really like a press release should be for a news story. But unless you're like a big company like Apple or Facebook, you don't tend to have like this big global news. You want to write your press release like it's news. So the first paragraph will be like the first paragraph you read in a newspaper, the who, what, where, when, why, the 5 W's. And then as you go further and further down, the information is kind of more and more background info. And then write your headline like you would in a newspaper, essentially, like quite attention grabbing, straight to the point, something that you can understand. Those are really kind of like the general basics.
Well, it sounds like, you've got to lead with your most important point, particularly with all the clutter out there that, like the military, we called it BLUF, bluff, bottom line up front. You've got to get, the important part out so they know after reading the first paragraph, that kind of hooks them to then come in and get more information.
Absolutely. And I think we're all guilty of trying to give too much information up front, and actually holding a little bit back encourages people to ask more and learn more about you. So I think it's not about explaining everything at once, but yes, like the key takeaways up front.
Now, in writing press releases, I guess you kind of want to tailor different press releases to different situations or, evolutions in your business or whatever. But I imagine a lot of a press release, particularly when it gets into the background part of your business, can be, you can almost like start off with a press release and then edit that one and keep it going. Might make it a little bit easier when you need to customize press releases, that they don't have to be all designed, redesigned from scratch.
Yeah, 100%. And I also think the press release goes hand in hand with like a bespoke email. So the fact that I'm talking to you guys today, you will probably send a press release from my book publicist, but the email is going to be bespoke to you guys and what your show's about and what you talk about. So I think it's important that the press release it's hard to get a one size fits all, but as much as it can be, it needs to be. And then your email pitch, when you're contacting people, that's the bit that you can really change the nuance and make it quite focused on where you want it to end up.
So a lot of just kind of a into the weeds question on press releases. A lot of these press releases do end up going by email. Do you recommend just pasting it in or, attaching it as a separate PDF or Word document?
Yeah, so from my experience and from the journalists I've heard of, so I can't speak for everybody, but as a general rule of thumb, I would always say to just include it in the body of the email. So a quick sort of succinct pitch email up front and the press release copied underneath. That's mainly because in today's society, the media teams that are very overworked, the staff numbers are cut now, they don't have time to kind of click and open a PDF or a Word attachment. I would sometimes do that like as a nicety, or maybe if there's a lot more background information, or perhaps there's a report or a white paper or some additional information that comes with it, I might say, the full report is attached if they want to know more. But generally speaking, just keep it all in one email.
So keep it simple, easier, just draft it up and cut and paste and put it in the email. Well, let's get out a little bit to the hype. How is a hype good at getting press coverage about, who what, how can hype help you, get press coverage?
Well, I think it's not just about press coverage. It's about talking about your business in detail. So, I think people need to take a step back and think about what they're using publicity for. Is it to drive sales? Is it to get investment? Is it because they're trying to attract more employees to their business? And think about the different sort of publicity techniques that you could do. So perhaps it's appearing on the podcast, perhaps it's speaking at an event, perhaps it's entering an award and just shouting about it on LinkedIn, for example. So I think it's just thinking about what you're doing to promote yourself and how that's helping your business goals, and really have your business goals at the front of mind before you're doing any kind of publicity, to make sure that the effort you're doing is working as hard for you as it possibly can.
How important is it the people to promoting that hype and getting that hype? Is it critical as far as who or is that it just a matter of your technique?
I'd say every PR would probably say, I've got this black book, blah, blah, blah. I think that's a really 1980s approach. Like, I don't have a Rolodex on my desk anymore.
Right.
I would say if you're writing a great tailored email and what you're talking about is relevant to that publication, there is zero reason for you to not get in. And actually, the world of entrepreneurship is so much bigger now than it's ever been. And I think journalists prefer to speak to, I'm not trying to do my industry out of a job, but I think
Right.
journalists would rather speak to business owners than they would publicists, because like we were mentioning before, the passion that entrepreneurs have in their business story, they're going to be the best ones to tell that story. So really, there's no excuse of this whole, I don't know anybody. It's like, no, that's, that's rubbish. You can, if you've got a good story and it fits their target audience, you're going to get in.
Right.
So what you're saying, in today's online world of PR, you don't really need a black book of journalist contact details, but what would you use otherwise?
Yeah, we don't want to put you out of a job here.
No, it's fine. I mean, my job now is to basically try and help people to do it for themselves, because I met so many sort of entrepreneurs who can't afford sort of London agency fees. I think, if, for example, you wanted to write an opinion piece for an international publication, or you wanted to be in a magazine, as simple as just Googling like how to write an opinion piece for the New York Times, or how to write an opinion piece for International Business Times, it will come up on Google how you can do that, who you need to go to, what the submission guidelines are. And with any kind of publication that you read, the contact details of the journalist will be inside there. I also find Twitter is a really great place. Like, even if you don't use a Twitter account actively for your business, loads of journalists are on there. Loads of their contact details are in their bios. And if you know where you want to be, the first thing I would say is to actually, you want to read that publication, you're going to know who the journalist is that's covering your beat. So once you understand what that name is, you can follow them on LinkedIn in a non-stalky way.
So kind of another way of looking at this, there's certain details about, how you would go about submitting press releases to specific entities, but you can get a lot of that information, you're saying, just from doing the research and, and getting some of those guidelines that way, which is, you still, I guess, do need to make some connections, but at least you can get a lot of the prep work done through your own research about, how you would submit it and what you would submit.
Yeah, it's really not rocket science. The information is all available for you online.
Sometimes there's just too much information. Well, that press, release is just part of your press toolkit. What should be in that basic press toolkit for any entrepreneur?
I would say first and foremost, get a decent headshot. It's the one thing that I really struggle with. Even with CEOs from really big corporate companies, sometimes it will be like a photo of them against a toilet door. And I'm wondering what's going on. Is this the only plain bit in their building or something? Mm-hmm. Also, a really kind of good tip is to get a headshot in a landscape format, because if you're submitting an opinion piece or something for a blog, or if you are being featured in a national publication, they're always struggling to find that landscape image on the page. And I've definitely increased clients' positions in articles because of that sort of specific headshot. Mm-hmm. So if you can get one sort of a regular, just head and shoulders, like you're seeing in the frame now of all of us together, that sort of a shot is great. And maybe a full length one too. If you have a product, make sure you've got that shot in a beautiful way as well. Because if you are included anywhere, the first thing they're going to ask for is, send me the photos. So that's kind of the basic thing. The press release, and as part of the press release, there's an area that you kind of call the boilerplate, which is essentially your business bio. So being able to just have the kind of this business was founded in this year, it does this, it's won this award, kind of, just the biography of your business. And I also think something that's often overlooked is a quick sort of crisis Q&A document. Lots of people, even with businesses like myself, it's a service business, maybe something can go wrong, but you can kind of anticipate what maybe might happen. Maybe a client complains, maybe you have an IT issue and your distribution goes down. If you've got a product business, there's all kind of things that can go wrong. Just anticipating a few of those issues, a bit like the FAQ section of your website. Mm-hmm. Just write a few Q&As out, and if the crisis does hit, you've got some sort of documents there. Or even if it's the other end of the spectrum, it might not even be that you do something wrong, but something happens, that you've got all your documentation ready, you've got everything to prove that you are who you say you are, or your results are true, or whatever it is. Just a bit of preparation. Might not be that you ever need to use it, and I hope that you don't, but worth just getting it in place.
You mentioned the website. It sounds like you can take this basic press toolkit and just, upload it into an about section of the website, and along with your images, have those ready to go. So I've known when we've had to write people up, sometimes it's tough. I mean, more often than not, it's tough to get that image. You end up Googling to find the image, but it'd be so much easier if you have that link when you go to a website, download this image and it's right there.
Yeah, I always encourage anybody, especially if the entrepreneur is trying to be the face of the business, to have their photo and their biography minimum as a download from their website.
I always ask this question of experts like yourself. Do you think it's worthwhile to put a real small, low-res headshot in your image, in your email signature? And so you send that along every time you send an email, or is that getting too much?
Yeah.
I think I'd feel a bit like, hey, look at me, I'm Lucy.
Yeah.
I was doing that. I don't think I could do it.
All right. That's one vote against.
Instagram's for.
Lucy, Werner, this has been a wonderful discussion on hyping yourself. Do you have any final points you'd like to share?
I think basically just try and get yourself into that hype yourself mindset. Just start with little small shares and see how you go day by day.
Just start talking about your business and how you get there, and the hype will grow from there. Well, Lucy Werner, thank you for being such a great guest on the Home Business Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
From London, England.
Fantastic. To learn more about Lucy Werner and hype yourself a no-nonsense DIY PR toolkit, visit the WERN.com.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Home Business Podcast. Share your feedback with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and at our website, homebusinessmag.com.
Visit the website for information on advertising. Subscribe to our newsletter. Please visit our sponsors. For more information, visit homebusinessmag.com or the expo at homebusinessexpo.com.
I'm Richard Captain Henderson saying anchors away.
We'll talk with you soon. Until then,
make it a great home-based biz day.